the company that we are today, and has spawned so many partnerships and businesses and startups that we have actually lost count. And so we believe that the way to answer questions like, where are the women in technology and where are the women starting companies, is to get groups of women together and create an opportunity for connection, learning, and ultimately advancement. So with those of you who decided that you want to start something inside or outside a company and came here today to do that, please stand up. Please stand up. Up. Congratulations. This day is really for you. And to serve and reward your entrepreneurism, we have pulled together a cadre of mentors who we have referred to and relied on since 2005, some of them, for the very best advice that we could find. For women who have agreed to come today and share your expertise as mentors, please also stand up. Please stand up. Maybe not happy. Please stand up. Thank you. These women who just stood up are the leading women we know in everything from business planning to venture funding to determining how to identify, hunt down, close, and serve a customer, to figure out how to develop a product plan, implement the infrastructure to deliver it, and continue to improve it, to develop the infrastructure you need to protect your business, to figure out how to brand it, to figure out how to communicate about it, and ultimately, how to package it up for a successful exit, perhaps even an IPO. That is the kind of mindset that these mentors bring to you. They are some of the smartest people I have ever met. And I think that their accomplishments are all the more underscored by something I want to briefly mention, but not spend too much time on, because it's not the focus of today. But given a very small number of women, and many of us have reported on this. Patty Sellers, where are you? Reported some more reports from Forbes here yet. There are people in this room who have continually reported on the lack of women at the top of venture capital funding, lack of women getting venture capital funding, lack of women at the top of publicly funded companies and private startups. That's okay, because guess what? The majority of consumers, offline and online, and in social media, are women. And who better to serve this consumer group than women like you? So let's go get that opportunity together. This is something that's been made possible by the fantastic sponsors that we have here today. So I'd like to hand the microphone over first to Elisa, who I want to acknowledge runs all of BlogHer's conferences, including this event. So take it away.
Thanks, Lisa. Thank you. So we definitely want to thank our sponsors. This is an inaugural event, and those are always only made possible by the companies that step up and help you. And so first of all, we really want to thank Microsoft for making this whole facility available today. Is someone from Microsoft here who can just...
Well, I will say Dana Lewin, who runs this as an officer for Microsoft, quickly shook our hands and thanked us for coming as he raced into his meeting at 7:15 this morning.
That's right.
He's busy.
And he said, have a great day.
He's a huge friend of women entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And
Cisco, we'd like to thank for the fabulous party last night.
Come on in, there's plenty of seats.
Yeah.
There'll be no hallway waiting.
Our Nancy or Lenny here from Cisco, they did tell me it was an early rise for them. Anyway, thank you to Cisco. And we also want to thank our other sponsors. First of all, we have Biz Filings. They are the sponsor of the curricula and the entire live blogging and virtual conference experience. So you may notice these video cameras in every room. We're partnering with Wembley once again to bring a virtual conference experience to those people who cannot be here in person, and partly that is made possible by Biz Filings. So thank you to them. We want to thank BlackBerry, who is sponsoring the networking portion, and at the end of our little welcome here, I will describe exactly what our next steps are after this welcome is over. And we want to thank our three supporting sponsors: Azure Capital, who is one of our investors and biggest supporters, Kaplan University, and Wiley. And we want to thank Wiley for sponsoring 3 scholarship recipients who would not be here without that. Do the 3 scholarship recipients want to just wave their hand? And so thank you for being here. And I'll let you take it away with the next. Those are all our sponsors, so thank you very much. Oh, and a couple more thank yous.
Absolutely. I wanted to just ask the members of our board who are here, in particular Janet Riccio, EVP from the Omnicom Group. These are people who help us every day. Thank you, Janet. And is Mike Continent from Azure here yet? I know he had a very busy morning. He'll be here later. And also, I would like everyone who works at and for blogher.com to please stand up if they're in the room.
Well, I see Erin back there and Elaine, Maria, Gina, Lori, Miriam, thank you very much. Danielle, so thank you all.
Some of the reasons we get up in the morning. So Elisa, you're going to now tell us who's here and why the entrepreneurs came.
That's right. So it did turn out that we have over 50 mentors, which allowed us to allow more than 100 women to show up. So we had really a plethora of riches. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about you. We were curious about who would be coming geographically, and would this be a sort of Silicon Valley-centric event. In fact, there are women here from Mexico, Canada, and 28 of the United States. So very, very, very pleased to see that. You're working in two main areas, which are media and technology, but mobile is a big part of what you're doing, whether you're in media or technology, pretty much as it should be. Most of you are early stage. Many of you are pre-launch, so you're here to figure out how to get started. Although I will say that 11% of you are already thinking about exit strategies. Most of you are working in for-profit scenarios. Some of you are here for nonprofit, but I would say that many of you who are here with for-profit scenarios are working like BlogHer on a mission-based for-profit company. So that was very interesting to see. Business model advice is your #1 ask. You want to know how you can turn your idea into a business and make some money. And that's good. About half of you would also like advice about marketing, and half of you would like advice about obtaining funding. So you're very focused. But there was a whole range of you who are interested in very tangible skills, from the technical to legal and financial, and understanding the legal and financial terms that come with partnerships, investment, debt, funding, all of that stuff. And about 20% of you have a social bent to your business. Finally, many of you are weighing this conundrum. Do I need partners, co-founders, or do I need to just hire really good people? Lisa Jory and I might have an opinion on the value of partners. Finally, I want to say that there is a healthy mix of ideas behind your companies, from hard news to lifestyle products. There are some portals for women around the world to get their news and information, including Mexico and Costa Rica. Many of you, forward-thinking and thinking about the socioeconomic future of this country and the world by focusing on education, job skills, job training, even teaching middle school girls programming languages. So there's some really awesome ideas. But we've got some sites about shopping, beauty, and dating too. So it all goes to show, we have always said that women are not some monolithic block who all shop and surf and share and vote and think the same. And the ideas in this room and the diversity of ideas and people in this room speaks to the diversity of women in general and the ideas that we are bringing to the marketplace. So that's who you are. And thank you again for coming, and congratulations for bringing these ideas here today.
I want to give a special introduction to Jory Desjardins by telling you some of the very best advice that we got in the end of 2006, early 2007, when we were trying to decide whether or not we should transfer from a bootstrapping startup with 3 people who were doing this at night because we were freelancing during the day, to getting venture funding. And we went to see Katarina Fake, who is the founder of Flickr, one of the co-founders of Pinch, and just an all-around brilliant woman. And we said, Katarina, we are really wondering whether or not it's the right decision for us to sell part of our company in order to get the resources to meet the unmet demand from bloggers and sponsors. And she said, okay, only you know that you have to do things in the following order. You need to think about people, terms, and valuation. You need to go find the very best people to work with, the people you're going to invest in your company, or people you're going to spend untold hours with. You want them to understand your business. You want them to care about your business. You want them to bring something to the table that you don't have, some intelligence that you don't have. You want them to respect what you're trying to accomplish. And since you already have an operating business, you're going to be able to test that. The result of working with people like that will be terms that make sense and resonate with the kind of business you want to build. And then the valuation, or how much your company is worth to them, will sort of naturally and organically fall out of it. If, however, you put the value of the company or the money you want out of this first, it's crazy. If you put the valuation of the company or the money that you want out of it first, you will agree to terms that don't necessarily make sense, and you will do a deal with the devil. We follow that advice, and we've really been led in that regard by Jory, who has worked so effectively creating partnerships for this company. Can you share some of your expertise in that area?
Sure, and I think if we had to define our style of running a business, it's really leadership by listening. And I think that's a really nice way to put it, but what does that actually mean, and how do you actually grow a business doing that? So I actually thought of our story where when we got together 6 years ago, and actually Elisa had already met. And I met Elisa, and she told me about this conference, and of course the first thing I thought was, oh my God, I could speak. So I said, how can I help? And she's like, well, we don't have a venue, we don't have sponsors, we don't have an agenda, we don't have... So there was a wide open opportunity, needless to say, and I did get to speak. But the key here was, there's a point where there's a great idea and the rubber needs to hit the road, and you actually need to make the idea fly. And we had that point, and I think I realized that I was on the precipice of that point, and it was a learning experience for me, and I actually saw from the very get-go how we lead by listening. From the get-go, when we built this conference, we did not build it ourselves, of course. We went out to the community and we asked them, what do you want? Now there's some women here, actually, I'm looking at Susan, looking at Marty Webb, who we turned to immediately because they were leaders in the community, and we didn't have to do all of the thinking ourselves. We had blogs, but we didn't have like huge blogs. We had friends with huge blogs. So we went out to women who were able to help bring in their communities. And as the business grew, and we decided, okay, maybe we want to grow a network. We went out to a core group of bloggers that we knew would help us learn how to monetize. And then when we wanted to get venture funding, we went to a number of people and asked them what makes sense. So we always found people that we could engage who were enthusiasts and eventually were our champions and helped us grow that business. It's always been our way. And with every new iteration and with every new launch, we always go to core groups of people to find out, what do you think? Now, you're ultimately accountable for what you do with your business, but it's just a necessary first step. You have to get those people chiming in. So that would be the first piece of advice. The next piece of advice, I will define by saying metrics. This is a bit of a plug for my panel later today. Metrics is crucial, and you may not agree with the metrics of the establishment. In fact, that's probably why you are building a business, because you are trying to change the paradigm of the metric. And that's exactly what we wanted to do, and I'll be specific. With BlogHer, we were one of the first organizations to run advertising on blogs to help bloggers monetize. Now, that's not something that was codified when we started, and we went to a lot of businesses seeking advertising dollars, and unfortunately, there's this company, little company called Nielsen, that doesn't count blogs, or didn't count blogs at the time, and we had to create the metrics with them. And initially, we had to work with their metrics. So my piece of advice there would be, work with the metrics. And you may not agree with them, but work with them first, and then seek to change them once you actually are in. And with BlogHer, we actually did work with Nielsen and continued on that path. And now we actually do a study with Nielsen to try to quantify the influence of women bloggers. So you never know, but you got to work with them first. The third piece of advice would be sharing the pain of your customers. And in our case, our customers are bloggers and they are advertisers. We knew the pain of bloggers because we are bloggers, and we knew that bloggers wanted to monetize, and we knew that they didn't want to sell their souls to monetize. But advertisers didn't quite get that right off the bat. So when we first approached advertisers, they were very willing to somehow work with us. They didn't know how, and there was a lot of fear around working with bloggers. Our first jobs were not running a media company. Our first jobs were educating advertisers to get them comfortable enough to, at some point, introduce us to the people who may have money to advertise on the blogs in our network. And in many other ways, too, not just through advertising. We had to take on many roles to help move the market where we needed it to be. And I imagine that many of you will be in the same position because you are doing such groundbreaking things. You have to bring your market to you. You cannot go out and expect them to understand right off the bat. So that would be my third piece of advice, is know the pain of your customers.
I think that's an excellent wrap-up. And that is, through those individual building blocks and running them yourselves, how you can ultimately be the most effective working with outside funders and customers. Well, I think that it would make a lot of sense for you to talk about one of the customers that we brought here who has particular appreciation of this audience.
That's right. So I'm going to do now some sort of what's happening for the rest of the day and how it will work. At this point, we are now going into our 2 mentoring and networking sessions. Those of you who have a mentoring session in the first hour will go downstairs. You passed a cafeteria when you came in to your left. All the mentors have a table with their name on it. And you go find your mentor, and they're all in the same clustered area of the cafeteria. The rest of you will stay here, and we're going to go out in the hallway so they can pull the walls on these rooms. And we're going to create a long, sort of 2 circles, and they're really very long ovals because of the narrowness of the hallway. And you're going to face one another, and we're going to do a little networking. And while we're doing it, we're going to play a version of buzzword bingo that we're calling BlackBerry Bingo. You all have in your booklet a bingo sheet. There's a tab and a bingo sheet. Go ahead and tear it out. And I think we also have pens out there. If you don't have, bring your own pen if you have one. While you're talking to people, and you'll get 2 minutes, and then you're going to switch. The circle will move. So you are going to meet a lot of people right in a row. Be ready with your business card, your bingo sheet, and your elevator pitch, basically. And you're going to talk about who you are, what you're doing, and what you need. Because sometimes what you need can come from your peers. It's not just about your mentor today. It's also about your peers. While you're doing that, you may hear terms like business model. You may hear terms like user. And when you do, check them off on your bingo card. At the beginning of lunch today, we are not only giving away the 2 prizes from last night, the Yumi set and the telepresence, but we're giving away 1 BlackBerry Playbook, which is their new tablet, and we're also giving away 15 new BlackBerry Torch smartphones. So we'll announce those at the beginning of lunch. And so when you get your bingo card filled out, there's going to be a bowl out there for people to drop their card in. So make sure you also fill in your contact information. So you're achieving 2 things. You're networking with your peers, and you're entering to win some cool prizes. A couple of other things I want to mention. If you have coats and you do want to put them somewhere other than here, and we will be in these 3 rooms all day, the Nebula room down at the bottom of the stairs where you came up is open for people to put their coats. It's not really a coat check, but it's just an extra room. Don't do that until you go down to do your mentoring, and kind of do it on the way if you're interested in that. In addition, as you know, tonight we have these optional no-host dinners. Lisa, Jory, Gina, and I are each, there's a clipboard out by the bookstore where you can sign up to go to dinner with one of us. You can also form your own dinners. I'm just going to put a plug for mine that all their proceeds tonight are going to Japan disaster relief, coincidentally. But so if you'd like to try a little vegan food, with me, the clipboard's out there. But we've also got Indian food, we've got Italian food, and we've got Thai. Are you going to Thai? So you may also decide based upon your cuisine choice. And so the clipboards are out by the bookstore. And finally, if you want to follow along with the conference, blogher.com, if you go right to blogher.com, on the top spinner, the very first feature of the day has a link to the whole virtual conference center that Biz Filings is sponsoring. That includes live blogging, and we will have live bloggers, and it includes, you can even, we have here our virtual conference pass, there's live stream video and live chat, so you can join that. And I think that is all the logistics I have. So at this point,
There's something else, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, what questions do you have, or are there any announcements from the team?
can't read your lips. Sorry? Oh, the hashtag is BlogHerBet.
We don't read this well.
And also, if you, is it right if we tweet BlogHerBet, hashtag Blackberry Bingo, and you tweet someone's, you know, Elisa C said business model, we'll collect those tweets and those will be entries too. Hashtag BlogHerBet, hashtag, for the networking, hashtag Blackberry Bingo, and then, you know, Elisa C said business model, that's an entry.
I also wanted to mention, does everyone know what the wireless internet access instructions are? Some tables have them and some don't. I'd like to just quickly read them to you. If you select MSFT Inet, Microsoft Inet, and then just open the browser, you should be able to get on immediately. Please let us know if you can't. And any other questions about the day? Okay, so I'm just going to recap. Speed dating / networking out in the hallway. Then people have the first mentoring downstairs in the cafeteria, massive cafeteria, but you'll see the reservations card. Thank you for being cognizant of the time, because people who have the second set of networking appointments won't be able to have their full time if we don't break on schedule, so thank you for doing that. And then we are all going to start our next panels. I would like to note that my panel is at 11:30.
So is mine.
About turn sheets. And that's when people should come back up here, and it will be in these 3 rooms right back up here.
Right,
okay?
they'll draw the walls.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.
Have a great day.